Just 3 years after the action adventure hit National Treasure came out, a sequel was made to the movie, National Treasure Book of Secrets. 2004's National Treasure was a big box office hit, and following it up was surely not going to be an easy feat. To my surprise, though, Book of Secrets turned out to be a pretty decent sequel for a variety of reasons, which we're going to talk about in this review. It wasn't as good as the original, I thought, but it was still a pretty solid adventure film. Now, one of the first reasons that this movie was solid was the movie was able to bring back all the primary and supporting characters from the first film. Even Harvey Keitel and Jon Voight are back in their supporting roles. In modern film, it's really never easy to do this with scheduling conflicts and actors and actresses often thinking the sequel will bomb, so they want no part of it. That said, the movie tracks much like the first film in many ways. However, since Nick Cage or Ben Gates and the rest of the crew are loaded with money from the beginning in the movie, there has to be some sort of motivation or driver to find the next treasure. Now, this time, similar to the first film in a way, Ben is motivated to find the treasure as it would clear a new rumor surrounding his ancestors. In the movie, a new bad guy, played by Ed Harris, introduces a page from a book that seems to suggest Ben's great-great-grandfather planned the assassination of President Abraham Lincoln. While the storyline isn't perfect by any means, the acting and chemistry among the characters really makes up for much of this. Now, coming back to Ed Harris, I thought he was a solid addition in the film as the villain. I actually thought he was better than Sean Bean in the first one, in fact. One thing in the film quite different than the first, I will say, is the relationship between Ben and Abigail, or Nicolas Cage and Diane Kruger. In the first film, Ben is really introduced to Abigail, hence he doesn't really know her, but as the movie unfolds, she warms up to him and eventually falls for him. Such a nice romantic story. But in this movie, they appear to be separated or broken up at the beginning. The couple, they're great at finding treasure together. They're great when the adventure happens. But when life slows down a little bit, they have issues. Their marriage is having problems. They're separated. As the treasure hunt starts once again, well, we see them argue, how married couples argue, and once again, they end up getting back together. Now, probably the main reason Book of Secrets fell short, to me, I think, is that the treasure hunt just wasn't quite as good as the original. The movie takes us to Mount Rushmore as Ben and company discover a hidden city of wealth beneath Mount Rushmore, or at least in that area around some of the caves. In the final scene, it's entertaining enough, but it feels very similar to the original. I didn't think it was as good in terms of some of the treasure and some of the mystery and riddles they had to solve in the first one, with the Declaration of Independence and going to the Library of Congress and things like that. In general, though, this is a pretty good sequel. Nothing special, but enough to keep you entertained. And I wonder if they are going to come out at some point and do another one at this point with all these remakes coming out. I mean, Nicolas Cage, he just makes movies still left and right. I'm sure he'd be up for it. I'm sure some of the supporting actors and actresses wouldn't want to do it. Probably Diane Kruger. She hasn't been in much recently, so she wouldn't want to do it. Let's see who else is in this. Harvey Keitel, he would probably not want to. But they definitely, if they've got Nicolas Cage back, they can surely make a movie around this. It's been around, 20 years almost since they did these movies. 2007 was Book of Secrets. So I definitely could see them doing a third one. And I think that there's a lot of different routes they could take to do this. For one, they could come out and show him maybe going broke or something, and essentially needing to find some sort of treasure, or there could be some other motivation to get him going. He could also, possibly even have, kids, because if it's been 20 years, he could bring his kids into the search as well, similar to kind of how The Mummy did it in a way. I know a lot of people don't like that, but that's just one addition that they could consider doing. Bring some younger people to actually watch this. In general, I don't know that something like that would happen. I do think we do have too many remakes and requels and all that stuff as is. So maybe it's probably better that we don't do something like that. Anyhow, if you've seen this movie, chime in, let me know. Did you like the sequel to this? Do you think there should be another one made with so much coming out? Thanks for your time.